Well, hi everybody, welcome back to the plot again. Just a quickie this evening. I'm at home, just finishing off a few of the beds and borders I've been busy with the last couple of weeks. And this one, it's all about division. As I said with the hosta last week, it's all about just getting the nice pieces divided up, getting them washed and getting them potted up. Now this job's a little bit bigger. It's one to use anti-dishers. I've already done one, and this is the second one to be removed. They're getting far too big now for the boxes, so far better get them dug up now. I've got some pieces that are re-rooted last year, and one of them will be come down from the garden and be transplanted into the box. So for the time being, as I say, it's just it's getting these out of the boxes, getting them up the garden and getting them broke up into nice manageable pieces, and we should end up with about 20 or 30 good cuttings from each plant for a divide between friends and family next year. So I'll just see what you can expect from one of these beasts. As I say, I've just easy with the soil. Beds are nice and soft, they've been well manured. The only thing I'll have to come down here is a fresh barrel load of manure and fresh barrel load of soil, top of the boards, top of the board. It's all about division, getting it nice, well dug up. And that's the sort of ball you can expect from one of these. So what we'll do is we'll pop it in a barrel and we'll break that up in about 20, a good 20 cuts, some nice big ones. On the bottom of the roots will be rhizomes that are young plants that's going to grow away next year, so I'll show you all that up the allotment. As I say, we'll get up there, get it broke up, get all the roots washed down, bit disinfecting in the water, and they should be fine for next year. But the sun's just going down here in the northeast. It's been beautiful all day, a bit windy, got a few showers, but on the whole it's nice. And I can spend a few hours now just potting on down here, getting some next week I'm going into fuchsias, so I'll show you how I take my cuttings. As I say, it's all about division. I've been spending a few days down here just cleaning out a few patches. As I say, the hostas took up a lot of the room, so I've replaced them. I'll have young hostas to go back in that place next year. The willow tree, the young wheaten willow is going to need a good bit pruning. My sunflowers have looked a bit devastated after the gales over the last week. And as I say, the roses are just starting to come to an end there now. The white rose tree, standard, she loves that. We've had quite a good year this year, can't complain. On the back garden, it's been nice, plenty of colour. Our herb bed's done really well, and the wife really likes her herbs, nice fresh herbs, and what's better than just outside your own front door. But as I say, tonight, that's my main priority, is get a Xanthan dish in the barrel, get it up, and we'll get it chopped up into division. Next week is the turn of the baskets. We'll get the baskets emptied out, and of course there's fuchsias in there. We'll get the fuchsias out. Some of the late plants still dying back. They've put on quite a good show this year. But as I say, it's getting these baskets down, get the fuchsias out, and with a bit of luck we should get a few cuttings off them for next year. So, for the time being, we'll get started with the plot, and we'll see you soon. Okay, bye for now. Right, well, hi everybody. Welcome back to the plot again. Now that the wind's died down, I hope I can finish this video off tonight. Unfortunately, I couldn't get it in the weekend because since last Friday it just blew and blew and blew. And of course, with being in the top tunnel, just having a polythene roof, the wind was so bad I had to knock off recording. But I'm hoping to pick up where I left off. Friday night I was on with the Xanthan dishers, taken from the home garden, out of the boxes, trying to make some new plants out of old ones. So we're 3 to 4 year old and they're well overdue for splitting. So what I did, I brought the plant up and started dividing up over the weekend, Friday, Saturday and Sunday, and I've ended up with about 50 to 60 brand new plants. So this is how I went about it. As I say, I started splitting the root, cutting the roots off, slicing the top of the plant off, all the leaves off, and just breaking them up into nice sections. What you find on the bottom of the roots, you find small little rhizomes. I've been leaving them yet dry out, tiny little things, all attached to the root ball. There's absolutely hundreds of them. And what we'll do with these, we'll put them into a pot like that, just for composting, and we'll put a good handful in each pot, and they'll be set away next year for seedlings. At the moment, they're just sitting in there drying out. They're not going to be going to do any harm there for the next couple of weeks. We'll put them to one side. As I say, the nice big pieces that will break out, we'll like to put them in a big bucket. Smaller pieces into an 8 and 9 inch pot, and the smaller bits again into a 9 centimetre pot. So we've got 3 nice sections of root, good root ball, which will go outside now, and they'll sit outside quite happily right until December, until the weather turns really cold, and then we'll bring them into a frost-free greenhouse in the lower polytunnel, just for overwintering through the worst of the weather, and they'll be fine for spring. Plenty of new plants. Right, this is the one from last year, exactly the same thing, and as you see, it's just starting to throw up its first flowers, and it's getting a bit late in the year, but that's perfect now, so I'll take that one back down home, and that'll go in the place of the 2 large ones that I dug up. Ideally with these, every 3 to 4 years, they need to be taken up, well, unless you've got them in the garden, and then by all means just leave them in the garden. They've got plenty of room, when you're in these borders, they'll grow away quite happy in there. But with me having the boxes, the raised beds down home, I like to try and take them out every 3 to 4 years and divide them. And that way, I divide my stock and get plenty of extras to give away to family or friends. So that's a dash out the way for the time being. Another thing I started doing was for irises. Now irises are exactly the same. If you leave them too long, they tend to rot in the centre, and all you're left with is a ring of shoots around the side, which will flower very poorly. So I decided once I was starting down home to get the irises started exactly the same time. So I've dug all them up. These are just ones off last year. Last year's cuttings again, once again, the rhizomes. And here we have just a perfect example. I've just brought this down from the garden. It was all divided up, all cleaned off, and that's a nice clear white rhizome there, as you can see. Perfect. Nice and clean. You can give them a wash, bit of disinfectant, bit of chase fluid, and then all I like to do is once again trim off the roots, and you've got a nice little cutting like that, which will go and sit in there. Ordinary block pot again. Now the compost I've made here it's got no bone meal in. All it is just horse manure and some old compost out of the potato bins. Now that's perfect because it had lots of manure in, lots of seaweed, and some good multi-purpose compost added to them for the potatoes. So that's perfect. I don't want anything too rich. All I want them to do is just to have a nice compost for them to sit in over the winter, and then next spring, once they're well rooted, we can plant them out in the garden. As I say, they go in there now, nice and comfortable, just sitting on the top, and with a rhizome just sitting nicely on the top there, and that's perfect. Quite happy with them. So we'll get all them done tonight, and they'll sit outside on the bench, say, well until December. And we might take them inside for a little bit cool cover away from the worst of weather, but that's all they'll get. And by next spring they should be well rooted and just fine for planting out in the garden, and you'll get for years to come, a better selection of blooms, you get a bigger build up of the rhizome, of the root system, and it'll last you for years. But that's one of the jobs I had to get out of the way this year, is just to get, as I say, divided. This is only a year old. This is exactly what I did last year. Broke some of the parts off from around the centre when I knew it was starting to rot, and then I thought to myself, well, this year it's got to be dug up completely, and that's what we did. But that's a perfect plant. That's to go now to replace it, or to go in a different part of the garden, and we'll still get irises for next year. So that's them two, the main ones off. As I say, all I've done all week is cuttings, more cuttings. So we've been really busy. What I want to get done tonight, I'm just going to pop these down onto here. Is one of the main projects this week was getting seed sown. I've already done 3 trays of spring cabbage. I would like to sow mine in the greenhouse now, in the nice and cold. They'll go down in the bottom tunnel where the nets are, and nice and cold, not too much heat, and they'll come away nice and slowly. I want to have these ready in about 7 weeks time, so I like to wait until the end of August, through into September, and I'll be planting them out as nice young plants around about the 2nd or 3rd week in October. So I've got me compost, and once again, multi-purpose compost, 2 pots, and 1 pot of really good sharp sand, and that's all I use for seedlings. Top your tray up to just a 1/4 inch below the surface, and then just sow your seeds lightly across the top. With some of the packets, it's quite easy to do. Some of these are the big varieties. They're pretty expensive seed, and you'll only get about 50 to the packet, so that's fine for a half-size seed tray. With these ones, I grow these every year, and these are Durham early. And mainly these will be for outside. There'll be a few for planting in the lower tunnel, but these will be mainly for outside. You'll get about 200 to 300 seed in a packet of Durham early. But I like to sow these in batches because there's always friends asking for cabbages. So tonight, all I'm doing is sowing I wouldn't dream of putting the 200 to 300 seed in just a small tray like that. As I say, with them packets, it's not so bad. You only get about 50 seedlings. To the bag. So we're just going to stop the film for 2 minutes. And there we are. That's a perfect example of mobile phones. Sometimes they're good, but other times they're just a pain. Right, so that's a Durham early sown. As I say, I wouldn't dream of putting 200 to 300 seed in that, just in that small tray. If you are going to sow the whole packet, then make sure you use a full-size tray. They'll go in now. Within a week or 2, they'll be popping through. By the time we prick them off into their pots. Oh, that's just a few. That's just a few cauliflower I've got left. I've sown the majority of them. As I've said in previous videos, light is everything. Make sure you've got a nice airy spot in the greenhouse where you're sowing, and get them up on the trays, up on the benches, up near the light, and you shouldn't have any problems. They're just perfect now for potting on. I'll probably finish that tray off tomorrow, and what I like to do is paint pots and put 3 or 4 plants into a pot, and they'll grow away smashing. They're going to be lovely in about 4 to 5 weeks time, perfect for going into the polytunnels. As I say, the lower polytunnel will be cleared of sweet corn and whatever else we've got in there, so that'll be filled with a mixture of winter cabbage, spring cabbage, cauliflower, and anything else we've got at hand. So as I say, the tunnels are never empty, they're always full. Another job I've been starting on, is trying to get done, is the wallflowers. When we sowed them the other week, I explained that I put them in rows of 3, and these have been potting off. As you can see, they're really nice and healthy. All they have had is a spray of chamomile tea. Once they break the surface and they get to a decent size, I like to give them a good spraying of chamomile tea, and it keeps them nice and healthy. The only other thing is watering. I always water from the bottom. That's why they're in big trays. I never water from above. I always water from underneath, and that way you avoid any diseases, especially if you're using water out of your greenhouse. I know it's always nice to have a tank of water in the greenhouse where it stays at that temperature. That's fine, but you've got to remember, you've got all sorts of algae, all sorts of pathogens growing in that water. So what I like to do is to fill the tank up, a watering can up with fresh water out of the tap, bring that into the greenhouse and let it come up to temperature, and then if you need to water your seed trays, use it with your fresh water. And that's just your initial watering for getting your seeds started, getting the seeds sown and covered over. Use the fresh water for it, by all means, but after that, water from underneath. And once again, that's the idea of using the multi-purpose and the sharp sand mix. It just acts like blotting paper. And if your tray is sitting on on another tray and you water from below, it will just soak the water up and you'll have no trouble, as I say, with bugs and diseases getting onto your compost and then up with dampening off. And that's, as I say, that's one of the worst things you can have. You'll lose your seedlings overnight. So keep them nice and healthy, keep them clean, and you shouldn't have any problems. Right, as I say, but mainly concentrating on cuttings today. But I'm going to have a little walk around the greenhouse. We've got a few little more jobs to do, and then I can come back to potting off tomorrow. As I say, it's a worthwhile job. I like to spend hours just whatever flowers is ready, get them potted up into their new trays, fresh compost, and they'll gallop away. Just one last thing to do. If you do like me, if you're sowing multiple varieties of cabbage, I've got 4 here that I've used this year. I've got cabbage Duncan, I've used for quite a few here. It's a small cabbage, pointy head, beautiful, very few outer leaves, so you can short spacing. You can really jam these cabbages in. So a pack of like that, of 50 seed, you're probably getting to 2 rows. And then I like to interplant the rows, go domino fashion, so you're not using any space up. Caraflex is another good one. Nice pointy cabbage. Cabbage Deacon, once again. Very few outer leaves, and that's what I like in a cabbage. Just nice heart, and they'll grow away quite easy in a polytunnel. If you're growing them outside, if you're growing them for the allotment, then really you should have had these sown about the middle of July, or planting out in the September, before it really gets too cold. With me, it doesn't make any difference because they're going into the polytunnel anyway, and in there the temperatures very rarely drop below freezing, so it's fine. I can plant out well up until October, even into November. I've planted cabbages out and they've been fine. And as I say, Durham Early is one of my favourites. I've grew that one for years, and that's mainly for planting outside. So these ones, it was a must to get into the night. I'll bring them on inside, and then I'll get them outside, get them hardened up, and they'll probably go out in the end of September, the beginning of October. Still not too cold, but at least it'll give the plants a chance just to get rooted outside. We'll maybe put some net over them, and they should be fine for next spring. But these ones, we'll be cropping these in January, February, well into March, and then by the time these are finished, what tomatoes will go in for next year. As I say, the tunnels are never empty. So that's the cabbages out of the way. And don't forget your markers. As I say, if you're using multiple varieties, a nice clear marker, they'll sit on that bench quite happy now until they break. Once they break that soil surface, they'll go up on the top in a full light, and they should grow away fantastic. No problems. So anyway, we'll have a little pop down the plot, and I'll show you a little what we've been up to the last couple of days. Right, so we're just having a little walk down this is still in the upper greenhouse. Wales are Craig's, as I say, these have been a fantastic crop this year. Nearly as good as a moneymaker. All the way up. A really fantastic bunch of tomatoes. Little bits of work every now and again. You get the odd truss that comes up, and you'll find with just a little side shoots on with immature tomatoes, and all I like to do is just snip them off, and you've got a nice full bunch here. That one, they can just be picked off, little immature ones. They're never going to make anything, so just pull them off. As I say, I like to wait until I get mainly to the top before I start disbudding any little immature tomatoes. But these ones down here certainly need doing. I've done these about a week ago. You can see where I broke away the little ones, and that's a perfect truss of 6 there. That would be lovely for the show bench in a couple of weeks' time. As I say, not all of them go to the show bench. A lot of these end up just on our plates. Nice salads. Absolutely fantastic crop. Well, peppers, well, need I mention any more? These are the big giant block peppers. They are growing absolutely fantastic. I'm looking forward to a good healthy crop on them. We've had a couple of large Spanish tomatoes sneak into here. I don't know how they've managed to get into there, like, but as I say, we always get jumbled up with a few plants here, there and everywhere. But they're growing away just the same. Really happy with them ones. We only had a dozen space, so we threw them in the in the top of the tunnel here just to get them out of the way. But no, they're growing away really well. Another job I like to do, as I say, is just check the trusses. Any little pieces that you think that's not grown, nip them off. Any little immature bunches, and you'll always find one or two on there that are really aren't going to make anything. So just nip them off. Then another job, of course, is to go through and just snip away your leaves. Any suckers that's on there, any leaves, take them away and let that light through. That's one of the main jobs to do this month, is to get them trusses out into the light. As I say, they're working their way up there, and the green tomatoes are fine. The ones on the bottom, as you can see, there's a little immature tomatoes on there. I like to just nip them off. They're not going to serve any purpose whatsoever. And that's a fine little truss there. They'll grow away just nice. Let them go as they are. But don't forget, just nip your leaves off as you go up. You wouldn't have to take them all off. Just when you get up the truss there. And that truss there is coming on fantastic. Nice green ones there, but they'll ripen off fine by September and into October. But no, really pleased with them. And of course, the Eels at Craig, they're a good variety for growing outside if you've got a bit of shelter. And what I'll do next year in the back garden, I'm hoping to do a little project, is to try a couple of these outside, and all we'll use is a little bit of polythene. I've got a space in the back garden up against the south facing wall, and what we'll do, we'll put a couple of pots of these Eels at Craig in, and we'll try and grow them from seed outside and see how we'll get on with them. But yeah, for now they're perfect. We're just going to put outside and see how we're getting on with the cuttings. Okay. Right, well, another one of our favourite crops is the sprouts. Fortunately, we've been lucky this year. These have had a couple of sprays of rhubarb juice on them. There's a little bit of damage on them, but nothing compared to what we had the year before. These will probably do with another little spraying. There is some yellowing leaves there, but we like to just pull them off as we go along. If we think there's any bugs on them. We had a couple of rows of the German cabbage, Filderkraut in the front, and they have absolutely been battered by the cabbage root fly, which I'm quite happy to let them go, because you can get a lot of the outer leaves can be pulled away. As I say, they're a really big cabbage, massive, and they're really tasty, but these have been absolutely clobbered by the cabbage root fly. But I'm happy to let them go at that. We can still get a nice heart out of them. And at the same time, we've protected the sprouts, which were devastated last year. But we haven't used any net this year, so you know I'm pleased. We've tried a few different methods, and I think we've escaped it this year. I'll probably give another light spraying of rhubarb juice into next week, and hopefully that'll keep them nice and clean. The sprouts are starting to come on there now, so I'm well pleased with that. That'll keep them protected well up until it starts getting a bit cooler, and of course the bugs start dying off. Now there's a few xanthadeshas that I've pot up over the last couple of days. We've actually got about 60 plants in all. Now these pots here are just the rhizomes. We've got about 16 pots of rhizomes. Now if you're putting a handful of rhizomes in each pot, you can look to getting about 20 plants out of each pot next year. Once they start growing through, they'll be fine. You can break them up and then separate again, pot them up, and for the following year there'll be a lovely little plant to give away to your family or your friends. But that's a xanthadesha, a really easy plant to propagate from, and of course division is one of the best ways. Cuttings, I'll be starting to take cuttings next week. Or the fuchsias down home, so I will do another video on them. These are the hostas that were dug from the back garden. Now I have got some hostas, smaller hostas over on the bench. I'll be taking them down, as well as the iris and as well as the other xanthadesha that I grew from last year's. So the beds and the borders down home will be topped up again. No problem with that. But That's the bedding for next year. So yes, we've been really busy. Our pear tree is just absolutely fantastic. There's a cracking crop of pears on here. I'm just hoping that it doesn't get too cold early on this year, and they start falling prematurely before they ripen. If they do start falling, then we'll just take them inside, give them a couple of days to ripen off, and they'll be fine. We've got a couple of blackcurrant bushes here to plant out, a cherry tree. So yeah, we're going to be busy over the next couple of weeks. The old strawberry bed that we had to dig up, unfortunately, it was only 2-year-old, but I thought better put them in buckets, and we'll try them, grow them in buckets for 2 to 3 years, and hopefully we'll get a better crop, free of slugs, and of course we can put a cover over them when the rain does start. At the moment, the garden's looking a little bit like well, the jungle. We've got canes everywhere. Of course, these are the raspberry canes. You can see the big new ones. They've made some fantastic growth. So what we'll be doing next week is cutting all the beds back, taking the old canes out, shredding them up, and then replacing them, tying in the new canes and cutting out all the old ones. You can see all the old ones along the back there. Most of them will be coming out, and the nice dark green foliage are the new canes that's coming through. So all them will be tied into the frame, and they're ready for a cracking crop for next year. Parsnips in the front, well, they're just massive. I'm hoping that the crop down below is better this year. I mean, they were fantastic last year, but we started getting a little bit of canker on the top, and unfortunately we had to dig them out early. So I'm hoping that this year is going to be a little bit better. So we've had a cracking crop of peas. They've been cropping for the last few weeks now. Starting to die back a bit on the tops here, so we'll get the last of them out. Had some good crops of beetroot. All around it's been quite a good year. We've had some great onions out. All the onions are hanging up, and now we're strawberries. We're just nearly finishing off the last of the strawberries. These of course are the runners. I've just potted these up actually in the last couple of days, but already they're taking a nice green colour and they're really healthy. Still lots of flowers coming on these ones here, so as I say, just nip them flowers off, don't need them, get shot of them. Could do with a little bit of water on these. I think it's going to rain tonight, so I'll not bother hosing them down. Now these are the ones we took a fortnight ago, 3 weeks ago actually, and they're perfect. They're really romping away. They're just looking a little bit dry, that's all, and even them are starting to send out runners. So we're going to have to go right through them, nip all them off. Of course they're in our own home compost now, so that's how they're growing so healthy. These will sit here for another fortnight now, and then maybe it's into the second week in September I'll start putting these up into the baskets, all ready for hanging in the January. Now these are our second year pots. These were last year's basket runners, so these were taken off and potted up again. As I say, these can all come off, all the flowers. It's a really good mix, our pot and compost, so as I say, they're flourishing in it. They're doing really well. Really nice strong plants. All these need now is a haircut at the end of next month. Just as they start dying back and they start shutting down for the winter, what we'll do, we'll just give them a nice haircut. Maybe just give them a spray of rhubarb juice just to see them through. Because they're nice and healthy at the moment. There's no sign of any bugs or anything on them. Well pleased with them. Just give them a little haircut and they'll sit there until January, until we start housing them in the cold greenhouse. No heat, just a cold greenhouse, and then these are the big 3-year ones now. Well, we'll put some of these away into the greenhouse and bring them on a little bit early. So we're hoping for about 5 crops again. That's what we did last year. We had 5 crops. We had 2 out of the warm greenhouse, 3 out of the cold greenhouse, and 1 out the main bed outside. Now I had a bit of damage done in here with the winds. It didn't grow to the pan with the 3 sisters. We've got the beans started growing on some of the plants. They're way to the top of the greenhouse, but the corn had just grew fantastic this year. Really strong plants, as I say, they were touching the roof, and of course once they started collapsing on each other, we had to put new tyres up. So we're going to have to rethink again next year. What we'll do is we'll put extra canes in all the way along and support the plants up that way, because they really are, they're a massive plant, and some of them have had 3, 2, 3 and even 4 cobs on them. So they've been really great. The dwarf runner beans that were put in their baskets after the strawberries had been in, they're just flying away again. Looking really nice. We'll make it a few beans off them, I'm hoping so. We didn't have to do too much work on them. The winter cabbage that was sitting on here just a couple of weeks ago, seedlings, they're now potted up and are nice and healthy. They'll be going in first once these leeks come out in about 3 to 4 weeks time, so they're just a nice size. I'm pleased with them. As I say, it's looking a bit like a jungle in here. Chrysanths, they're looking a little bit limp, so maybe it's a good watering. Possibly another spray in the next couple of days, just to keep them ticking over. A lot of them still need this budding, as I say. They tend to take a lot of work, chrysanths. I take my hat off to some of these show guys, because they are a demanding plant to take a lot of time, but they're worthwhile, because at the end of the day you can get some absolutely fantastic blooms off them, and I love growing them. The wife likes a nice couple of bunches of these later on. These are the Max Rileys. I've got the Max Riley yellow and the Max Riley bronze, which will be coming out soon, as well as some whites and lemons. I grow about 8 varieties, and I'm always looking for a nice couple of blooms for the missus to take home. So, well, I hope you've had a bit of time to spare to watch what we've been doing around the plot. We'll be getting back next week, because we've got to start some seed sowing, and we're going to hopefully try and dig the main crop taters up next week or the week after. So we'll need that land preparing, ready for the Japanese onions to go in. So, as I say, I hope you've enjoyed watching what we've been doing. Keep in touch, and don't forget, like, share or subscribe to Jeff Foreman on YouTube. Thanks again, I'll see you all soon. Bye for now.